Vladimir Putin and his Russian forces are on the ropes. Each day the Ukrainian forces hold them back is another day that makes it harder for Vladimir Putin to win. There are reports now that his military is beyond battered and bruised. Ukraine declared it has killed 6 Russian generals on the battlefield. Russia confirmed only 1 of those, but even if the number is actually 3 or 4, what's the difference? It's a huge blow to Russia that they're killing military leadership. Proof that Ukraine is surprising the world when it comes to its formidability on the battlefield. One former colonel in Russia's intelligence agency detailed just how surprised he is with Ukraine's intestinal fortitude to fight.
Получается, что свои силы переоценили, силы противника либо вообще недооценили, либо не оценивали вообще. Вот, к сожалению, результат пока не обнадеживающий.
Overestimated, not optimistic, all right, for those of you that don't speak Russian. Every night since the war began, we talk about our enemies exploiting this war, China using it as a catalyst to overtake America as the leader of the world, billionaire globalists using it as cover to push what Joe Biden called the New World Order, where America takes a backseat to communism. America needs to start exploiting this war too. It could save Ukrainian lives in the process. That would be the goal here. We need to exploit this war, end the Russians' heavy losses, to deal Russia a devastating blow. We could sink Russia for decades, and we don't need to fire a shot. The war is costing Russia $2 billion a day. We need to double down on the harsh sanctions against that country. We need an American leader willing to demand every European nation ban all imports from Russia. You do that by saying, if you don't stop trading with Russia, America will cut financial aid off, will cut trade off to your country. And we will pull out of NATO too. America, even a weakened America by Joe Biden, still holds all the cards. See, Europe could not turn us down if we made those demands. They can't afford to turn us down. Here is what else we do. We instantly pull out of this Iran nuke deal that is set to send billions of dollars to Russia. We tell China, if it continues to engage with Russia, if it continues to provide a path for Russia to move money internationally, if it continues to provide Russia with loans, if it continues to buy Russian oil, we will return to the Trump-era tariffs on Chinese goods and services. We will make China hurt. We must work to swiftly cut Russia off from the world. Sadly, I don't think Joe Biden has it in him to do any of those things I just mentioned, either because he's compromised by Russia and China, or because he's fully behind the idea of using the war to build what he called a new world order. We've been talking about it a lot this week. His trip to Brussels to meet with our allies this week should be used as a defining moment to sink Russia once and for all. From this one comment, I doubt it will happen that way.
What would you like to say to European partners?
I'm going to say that to their face. I'm going to say all I have to say, I'm going to say when I get there. But I'll be happy to talk to you guys when I get back.
How lame is that? Say what to their face? You want to say that to their face? You didn't even say what you're going to say. This is the guy we got leading America. It's sad. And the world is hurting because of it. He has no idea what he's going to say, by the way. And I doubt it's anything near what I just laid out. Here is what else that needs to happen. U.S. intelligence agents inside Russia, recruiting Russian assets in Moscow, need to go on the offense. We know there are those inside Putin's inner circle that believe the invasion is out of line and puts Russia at risk of collapse. Truth is, I feel for the Russian people. They're victims in all of this really too in Putin's war. So in January, a well-respected retired Russian military advisor penned a letter declaring that invading Ukraine would be, quote, pointless and extremely dangerous. He feared it would turn Russians and Ukrainians into enemies for life while killing thousands in the process. Sadly, it turns out he's right. This retired general, Leo Nedivashova, warned a war with Ukraine would risk a war with NATO. and threaten, quote, the existence of Russia itself as a state. That could be Russia's fate if only Team Biden and our European allies would put the economic hammer down on Russia, and China, by the way, once and for all. Let's show the world that America still calls the shots, not Vladimir Putin or China's Xi Jinping. It's hard to prove that, though, with Joe Biden as president.